Have you ever stood in a room full of noise, chatter, arguments, egos clashing like swords, and felt the urge to crush it all with a single glance? Have you ever walked away from a battle of words, not because you lost, but because you knew you were above it? Most people are slaves to their tongues, spilling their weaknesses with every syllable. But you are different. You feel it in your blood. A cold, unrelenting force, a hunger for dominance that doesn't need to scream to be heard. Today, I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to awaken the predator within. Inspired by the iron will of history's most unyielding minds, this is about mastering the art of silence, not as weakness but as a weapon sharper than any blade. Welcome to the mindset of absolute supremacy. Buckle up for 15 minutes that will reshape how you see power, control, and yourself. Let's cut through the lies society feeds you. They tell you to speak up, to defend yourself, to prove your worth in endless debates. They want you to believe that power is in the loudest voice, the fastest comeback, the cleverest argument. But that's the trap of the weak. The truly powerful don't need to explain themselves. They don't need to justify their existence. They simply are. And their silence? It's not empty. It's a storm waiting to obliterate anyone foolish enough to challenge it. Why do we feel the need to argue, to correct, to prove we're right? Because we've been conditioned to fear silence. We've been taught that staying quiet means losing, that not reacting means surrendering. But that's the mindset of cattle, not conquerors. The need to speak comes from insecurity, from a fragile ego desperate for validation. The man who must convince is already defeated. True power lies in withholding, in letting your enemies drown in their own noise while you stand unshaken, untouchable, unbreakable. This video is for you, the one who's tired of being interrupted, ignored, or dismissed. The one who's sick of playing nice while others trample over your strength. You've been told your calm is weakness, your restraint is cowardice. But today you'll learn that your silence can be a guillotine. It can cut through arrogance, expose weakness, and leave your enemies trembling without you lifting a finger. This is the cold-blooded mindset of a leader who doesn't ask for respect. They command it. Let's talk strategy. Silence isn't passive. It's active, deliberate, ruthless. It's the art of watching your opponent unravel while you conserve your energy. When you speak, you reveal. When you react, you expose. But when you stay silent, you become a mystery, a force no one can predict or control. And in that unpredictability lies your dominance. Imagine you're in a heated argument. Someone's shouting, throwing insults, trying to bait you into their game. Most people would bite. They'd argue back, defend themselves, try to win. But you fix them with a cold, unblinking stare. You let the silence stretch heavy and suffocating. Their words falter. Their confidence cracks. Why? Because silence is a mirror. It forces them to face their own insecurities, their own desperation. Without your reaction, they're shouting into a void, and they feel it. That's power. That's control. This is where the Hitler mindset comes in. Not in cruelty, but in absolute certainty. Hitler didn't just speak. He chose when to speak. His silence was a weapon, a calculated pause that made entire nations lean in, desperate to hear what came next. He knew that words are finite, but silence is infinite. It's a void that others fill with their fears, their doubts, their weaknesses. And when you master this, you don't just win arguments, you end them before they begin. But let's be clear. This isn't about being quiet for the sake of it. This is about strategic silence. It's about knowing when to hold back and when to strike. It's about observing your enemies, every word, every gesture, every crack in their armor, and storing it for the moment you choose to act. Because when you do speak, it won't be to argue, it'll be to destroy. Now let's talk about the ideal of supremacy, the Übermensch, the overman. This is the being who transcends the petty rules of the herd, who creates their own values, their own reality. The Übermensch doesn't waste energy on pointless debates or emotional outbursts. They observe, they calculate, they dominate, and their silence, it's not just a tool, it's a crown. It's the mark of someone who's already won, who doesn't need to prove their strength because it's undeniable. The Übermensch knows that most people are slaves to their impulses. They talk to fill the void, to hide their fears, to convince. Themselves they matter, but the overman is different. Their silence is a fortress, impenetrable and terrifying. It says, I don't need your approval. I don't need your understanding, I am enough. And that terrifies the weak because it exposes how small they are. So how do you wield this power? How do you turn silence into a weapon of supremacy? Here's the blueprint, a ruthless guide to mastering any situation without uttering a word. These are not mere suggestions. They are the principles of dominance, carved from the cold certainty of absolute control. First, kill the need to react. The instant you feel that burning urge to argue, to defend yourself, to explain your truth, stop. That impulse is not strength, it's weakness, the herd's desperate plea for you to remain small and predictable. Train yourself to pause, to let that urge wither and die. In that moment of restraint, your silence becomes a force, louder and more piercing than any comeback could ever be. It's the sound of a mind that refuses to be baited, a will that bends to no one. Next, observe like a predator. While others fill the air with their chatter, you listen, not to respond, but to dissect. Study their body language, the flicker of their eyes, the tremor in their voice. Notice the contradictions they don't even realize they're revealing. Every word they speak is a window into their soul, exposing their fears, their insecurities, their weaknesses. Store this knowledge like a hunter tracks prey. Use it later, when they least expect it, to strike with precision that leaves them stunned. Then, weaponize the pause. Let your silence linger, heavy and deliberate, until it becomes unbearable. The longer you hold it, the more your opponent squirms, their confidence unraveling under the weight of your calm. A single raised eyebrow, a subtle smirk, can amplify this tension, turning their own words against them. In that uncomfortable void, they'll feel judged, exposed, powerless, because your silence forces them to confront the fragility of their own position. Be unpredictable. The unknown is a weapon, and your silence makes you a shadow no one can grasp. When people can't read you, they can't control you. Keep them guessing. Let them stew in the uncertainty of what you're thinking, what you're planning. This unpredictability shifts the balance of power, making them cautious, hesitant, while you remain the untouchable force at the center of the interaction. Finally, when you choose to speak, make it count. Your words are not for arguing. They are for ending. One sentence, sharp, undeniable, and delivered with icy precision, can cut deeper than an hour of shouting. Let your words be a guillotine, severing the conversation with a truth so potent it leaves no room for rebuttal. Speak not to plead, but to dominate, to reshape the moment in your image. But there's a darker truth here. Silence isn't just about winning, it's about survival. Every day people are draining you. They're manipulating you, using your kindness, your restraint against you. They push, they provoke, they take, and you let them because you've been taught that staying quiet is noble. But that's not nobility, it's surrender, and surrender is death. The cold-blooded mindset doesn't tolerate this. It sees through the lies, the games, the subtle ways people try to control you. It refuses to play along. When you embrace this mindset, you stop being a pawn, you stop being a victim. You become the one who sets the rules, who decides the game. And your silence, it's the signal that the game has changed. Let's talk about the cost of weakness. Every time you stay silent out of fear, out of guilt, out of a desire to keep the peace, you're handing your power to someone else. You're letting them shape your reality. You're letting them win. And deep down, you feel it. The rage, the shame, the betrayal of yourself. That's not peace. That's a prison. The Hitler mindset, ruthless, unapologetic absolute, teaches you to break those chains. It's not about cruelty, it's about clarity. It's about refusing to be anything less than what you were born to be. Your silence isn't a retreat, it's a declaration of war. It's the moment you stop apologizing for your existence and start commanding the world around you. This is your awakening. From this moment on, your silence will never be the same. It's no longer a shield, it's a blade. It's no longer a reaction, it's a choice. It's no longer submission, it's supremacy. You are not here to argue, to explain, to beg. You are here to dominate, to create, to become the Übermensch who bends the world to their will. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their chaos, remember this. You don't need to fight their battles. You don't need to prove your worth. You are enough. And your silence? It's the sound of a predator circling, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Comment below. I am the silence that commands. Say it. Mean it. Live it. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more conquerors. Subscribe for the next chapter in this journey to absolute power. You're not just watching a video. You're forging a legacy. Now go out there and make them tremble.